He won't be joining us, and we will be recognizing his family for his service in the next month or so. Let them get settled. He will be missed, obviously, by all of us. I know we all attended his funeral or his wake in the last few days. But anyway, he will be missed, and we'll deal with, and like I say, respect him next month or so with that meeting. On our agenda today, there's a couple of changes you might notice. We have a consent agenda items that are set for board items 4, 5, 6, and 7. And what the consent agenda is a practice that we're going to try to start using here to handle our routine business and reports. These would be things that we've discussed at length at a Tuesday meeting, and just more effective use of the time so we can do it all in one motion instead of going through there. Many of these things would be meeting minutes, monthly financials, committee appointments, policy approval and revisions and contracts. Any board member at any time can pull one of those off the consent agenda if they have further questions, but we'll use that very judiciously, what we put on there. If there's things like, anything that really affects major for the ratepayers or environment or things like that, we're trying to avoid anything like that on the consent agenda. So board members, we had talked about this earlier. You can do it at any time, but we would like, if you got something, call Kim or myself or whoever the chair is at the time and say, hey, I changed my mind, I've got a question. But at any time that can be done. Then we'd we'd just move it to the regular agenda and open it up for public comment and anything like that as well. So that's new. Other than that, can we, Director Yoder, also for the public, and this is being viewed on the web, please silence your phones, but let's just introduce ourselves down the line. It'll be easier.
My name is Rick Yoder.
I'm Mick Mines. I represent District 7.
And I'm Tim Burke. I'm the President and CEO of OPPD.
Tim Gage, Chairman of the Board this year.
Tom Barrett. I represent District 6, which is northeastern Omaha.
I'm Mike Kavanaugh. I represent District 8, which is roughly the southwest part of the Omaha area.
I'm Ann McGuire, and I represent District 2, which is southeast Omaha.
Craig Moody with Subdistrict 5.
Kim Tracy, Corporate Secretary.
Okay, with that, thank you. And then with that, Tim, would you walk us through a safety briefing?
Sure. Welcome. You're in the auditorium here on the east side of Energy Plaza. In the event we need to exit, obviously you came in at least one or two of the exits here. We would exit out the back or to the front. If we had to exit the building, we would actually exit out on the 16th Street side. In the event that we couldn't, we would exit on the 17th Street side straight to the cafeteria. If you do use the steps, please use your 3-point touch. If we need to shelter for whatever reason due to a severe storm, we would actually move to the west garage area, and we would be escorted by our security folks as well. The fire extinguisher is right outside this room, right next to the previous conference room, just beyond the auditorium here. The AD and the first aid kit are one on top of each other as you would go into the cafeteria. It's on the cement wall on the right side, one on top of each other. Is anybody here certified in the use of an AED or in CPR? Very good. We have several here. In the event that we need to call 911, Rod, would you call 911? I appreciate that. Thank you very much. We would not use an elevator in case of a fire. And if anybody has a medical condition, please write it down or tell your neighbor. And that concludes my safety briefing. If there are any questions, I'd be more than willing to answer those. If not, I'll turn it back over to
All right, thank you, Tim. And one thing I did fail to mention, of course, there's always time for public comment. There'll be time at the end. If you have any public comments, step up to the microphone right up here, state your name, and then you get 3 minutes. There's a lighting system we use. 3 minutes is at 3, it's green, yellow, and red. At the end of when red goes on, you're out of your 3 minutes. So Kim Tracy will be monitoring that. Any questions, direct to the board chair, then I'll answer or direct to the appropriate person. Kim, you want to give an announcement regarding the public notice of the meeting?
Sure. Agenda item number 3, notice of the time and place of this meeting was publicized by notifying the area news media, by publicizing same in Omaha World Herald and outlets, by displaying such notice on the arcade level of Energy Plaza since September 6, 2017, and by mailing such notice to each of the district's directors on that same date. A copy of the proposed agenda for this meeting has been maintained on a current basis and is readily available for public inspection in the office of the district's corporate secretary. Additionally, a copy of the open meetings law is available for inspection in the public meeting book located in this meeting room. Now to the consent agenda items. Item 4 is approval of the July 2017 Comprehensive Financial and Operating Report, the August 17, 2017 Board Meeting Minutes, and the September 14, 2017 agenda. Item 5 is to award a Foundations and Ducts contract for the Elkhorn River Valley Transmission Project, Resolution Number 6202. Item 6 is to approve the monitoring report for SD10 Ethics, Resolution Number 6203. And item 7 is to approve the contract settlement for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local Union Number 1483, Resolution Number 6204. If there are no corrections, changes, or additions to these items, I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda items.
You have a motion for somebody?
I move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any public comment on any of those consent agenda items?
David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street. As you know, I attended the committee meeting and gave the perception that I realize you want to approve the ethics monitoring as what you already have, but it gave the strong perception that there was a reluctance to add to it. And several times it was said, well, the majority of people already said this and the majority of people said that. That's not what discussion is about. Discussion is about people freely expressing their ideas, giving new ideas, and if you don't like the ideas, then you can vote them down, but you don't vote them down before you know what they are. I was very concerned that as presiding officer, you were not presiding. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. As you know, perception is not reality. That'll be placed on the agenda next month. So we do have rules and formats that we all follow. So that's what's going to happen. There will be next month. I think you're referring to Director Yoder's comments of some of the changes, and I also have some changes. But that's the way the boards are run somewhat. I appreciate the comments.
And the government committee will hear any changes suggested, so it's a little premature to do that. I mean,
Yeah.
we're going to take a look at it in depth.
Exactly. With that, we'll
Commenting
have a
on what
vote.
will be, I was commenting on what happened
Yeah, thank you.
at the meeting.
Thank you. No problem. Roll call vote, Kim.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines,
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 8, motion to dispense with the reading of the resolution of number 6200, series resolution for electric systems revenue bonds 2017 or 2018 series. Be it resolved that because a copy of resolution number 6200 has been furnished to each director in advance of this meeting, the reading in full of the resolution in this meeting by the secretary be dispensed with except for those portions of the resolution which have been materially revised and the additions necessary to complete said resolution.
Okay. Motion, we need a motion and a second on this.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any board comments on this? Any public comments on this? Don't see any. Okay, Kim, can you, we need a vote on a motion to dispense with the reading of this resolution 6200.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm John Petter with QTAC Rock. We're bond counsel to the district, and after conferring with the district staff, I can confirm to you that there have been no changes to Resolution 6200 relative to the version that you received in your board packages. Thank
Thanks,
you.
John.
Resolution number 6200 authorizes the creation and issuance of the electric system revenue bonds 2017 or 2018 series.
Okay, we need a motion and a second on that.
So move.
Second.
If I can maybe comment a little bit, we're going to be talking about this in depth in the next resolution 6201. So this is sort of the quick one, and then we'll get into a little bit more depth in the discussion. The big thing is that this is that we didn't want to read all the pages. We'd have to have
Yes.
one of those fast readers to hurry up and read it. We'd be here all night.
Auctioneer. We can talk about description of the bonds. Do we need any of that?
And then I want to talk about it in depth, which is that management believes that if tax-exempt interest rates continue to decline, it may be advantageous to the district to refund existing debt. Any refunding debt issued will be used to repay existing debt and related transaction cost. Management may issue one or more new series of bonds not to exceed $250 million to be known as the 2017 or 2018 Series Electric System Revenue Bonds with such additional letter designations as deemed appropriate at the time of issuance. The bonds will be traditional tax-exempt bonds. The Board of Directors will receive quarterly updates on the status of the bonds, and it may be more frequent if need be. Final pricing of the series of the bonds will be communicated to the Treasurer or the Chair of the Board of Directors by delivery of a pricing certificate and will be presented at the next regularly scheduled board meeting immediately following the execution of the bond purchase agreement. Thank you, Mr. Petter.
Once again, I can confirm on behalf of QTAC Rock that if the district issues bonds in accordance with Resolution 6200, QTAC will be in a position to give its opinion that those bonds are legally and validly issued, that they're enforceable against the district, and that interest on those bonds is exempt from federal income taxation. Any questions? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Steve?
Good afternoon, members of the board. Before presenting the opinion of General Counsel, I want to acknowledge the work of my colleague Troy Meyerson on this matter and other bond matters that have occurred in the recent past. He will be working closely with the district staff on this issuance if it goes forward. Having said that, as General Counsel, we have examined the proposed series bond resolutions known as the 2017 or 2018 series bonds resolution, and it is our opinion that the Board of Directors may legally adopt that resolution and authorize the issuance of bonds in an amount not to exceed $250 million, with that authorization expiring effective December 31, 2018. And I will present to the Corporate Secretary copies of our opinion in that regard. Any questions?
Steve, I have one question. Is there a purpose or a reason why we're going out and selling bonds? You know, I know that bonds basically are just to generate capital to be used. Is there any designated purpose or?
Corporate purposes, but primarily to refund existing debt. Questions that are more detailed than that might be better directed to Mr. Fernandez, but generally that would be what the bonds would be for.
Yeah, we're going to sort of discuss that in detail in the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. With that, Kim, can you, I think we need a roll call vote on this, Resolution 6200.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
motion carried. Agenda item number 9, motion to dispense with reading of resolution number 6201 and preliminary official statement, sales resolution for electric system revenue bonds 2017 or 2018 series. Be it resolved that because a copy of resolution number 6201 and the preliminary official statement incident to the 2017 or 2018 series bonds have been furnished to each director in advance of this meeting, the reading in full of the resolution and the preliminary official statement in this meeting by the secretary be dispensed with, except for those portions of the resolution and preliminary official statement which have been materially revised, and the additions necessary to complete said resolution and the preliminary official statement.
Okay, on this, we need a motion and a second.
So move.
Second.
All right. And then any board comments on this? I might just say real quick comments why we're doing this. We've been very successful. We got a lot of legal things going on here that we have to do. So that's why we're reading from these scripts, just to keep it all above board. But the reason we're doing this, we refinance bonds when we get opportunities at very good rates. So if the opportunities come up to renew bonds or reissue bonds and save the ratepayers money, we are giving leeway for the company to do that. So that's what's going on here in layman's terms, I guess.
Right.
So,
Right,
I
and
just wanted
since
to put
we've
that out.
started the discussion, we might as well continue it. The bonds that we're actually thinking of refunding are the 2011, 2012 bonds. The past 8 years or so, we've done this. That's been a fairly flexible idea that we can just go, we give management the leeway, and this time it's about a year and a half, all the way to December 2018, to figure out if there's any good time to get the best, when the bond market's prime for us to jump, we can jump and get a better rate, and in the hopes of saving quite a bit of money. we can, at this time, perhaps ask Vice President Fernandez to talk a little bit about exactly, a little bit more in depth about this.
Just the process.
The
is what
process.
you're talking about. Because
Yes.
the lengthy process.
The
that
lengthy
has to
process,
occur,
yeah.
That why we're allowing this. Yeah, I think that'd be
And
good.
how the team is and what the team
Sure.
does.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Javier Fernandez, Chief Financial Officer at OPPD. And as you well described it, this is a complicated, it's a complex process by which we go to the market and issue bonds. And the process takes a variety of services, including rating agencies, credit rating agencies, investment banking team, financial advisor, bond counsel. And to put that process together, it takes a matter of several weeks. Having this approval in advance allows us to expedite such process and really go into the market when it is most advantageous for the district to do so and get the most savings. It allows us to monitor market conditions, and when those are ripe and they're the best for us, we will go forward and execute on the transaction. I made a commitment to come to the board at least quarterly to report on market conditions, whether those are improving or deteriorating, and whether or not we're moving ahead with the bond sale. If those conditions happen to improve between quarters, I will make the commitment to come and inform the board on a monthly basis as those market conditions improve.
Very good.
Okay.
Any other questions for Javier?
No.
Okay, any other board comments? Any public comments on this?
And we can continue.
Okay, we need a vote on this.
First one.
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Gay,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Yoder,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Once again, as bond counsel, I can confirm after conferring with staff that there have been no changes to Resolution 6201 or to the draft of the preliminary official statement that was provided to the board. Thank you.
Resolution number 6201 approves the official statement and provides authority for the President and Chief Executive Officer or the Vice President and Chief Financial Officer to execute one or more investment banking agreements, pricing certificates, and bond purchase agreements for the 2017 or 2018 series bonds through December 31st, 2018. As such date may be extended by further action of the board. This authority would allow the bonds to be sold when acceptable market conditions exist regardless of the timing of regularly scheduled board meetings.
Okay, we need a motion and a
So
second.
move.
Second.
All right, any board comment on this?
Well, we have to have a discussion here, so I'll discuss that.
Hold on a minute. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Ann. Sorry.
Resolution number 6201 provides the official statement and provides authority for the president and CEO or vice president and CFOs to execute investment banking agreements, pricing certificates, and bond purchase agreements for the 2017 or 2018 series bonds through December 31st, 2018, as such date may be expended by further action of the board. This authority would allow the boards to be sold when acceptable market conditions exist, regardless of the timing of regularly scheduled board meetings. The district's financial advisor, Barclays Capital, has indicated that the pursuing a refunding transaction, if tax-exempt interest rates continue to decline, is a reasonable strategy to capitalize on market interest rates. Pursuant to Resolution Number 6201, a written opinion of the district's financial advisor will certify to the board that the terms for the 2017 or 2018 series bonds reflects rates competitive with current market conditions. Final pricing of any 2017 or 2018 series bond issue will be presented at their scheduled regular board meeting immediately following the execution of the bond purchase agreement. Now we need Mr. Bruckner.
Again, members of the board, as general counsel, we have examined the form of the bond purchase agreement that is to be negotiated if this moves forward for the 2017 or 2018 series bond, and the form of preliminary official statement. We also have reviewed the form of Resolution 6201, which is before you, which would authorize the retention of the underwriters for the negotiated sale of the bonds and the official statements. And it is our opinion that the Board of Directors of Omaha Public Power District may legally adopt Resolution Number 6021 and authorize the President and Chief Executive Officer or the Vice President and Chief Financial Officer to execute and deliver pricing certificates, bond purchase agreements, and official statements for those bonds through the period ending December 31, 2018. And I will present our formal written opinion to the corporate secretary unless there are questions. Thank you.
Any questions? Any public comment?
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. In your discussion here, you've indicated that the primary purpose of these bonds is to conduct a, basically to call in the old bonds at higher interest rates and replace them with new bonds at lower rates, and to give you the flexibility to do that if market conditions are favorable. I understand that. What I'm wondering is, are there any actual limitations in this on how much new money may be raised in this process? Or is that basically we're relying on your judgment to say, well, we're not intending to go out and raise new money for this when this is a refunding operation?
Yeah. Good question, John. I think I'd answer it, but I'd rather have an expert answer that.
Yeah. Very good question.
Good question.
Excellent question, and no, the resolution allows us, and in fact, it is very clear that the specific purpose for this issuance is to refinance existing bonds and to pay for cost of issuance, and no new money is anticipated this time. In fact, this is part of the corporate operating plan. I'm very proud to say that OPPD is funding 100% of our capital needs this year with revenues from customers and not with debt.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Javier.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? All right, Kim, could you call a roll call vote?
Barrett,
Yes.
Kavanaugh,
Yes.
Day,
Yes.
McGuire,
Yes.
Mines.
Yes.
Moody,
Yes.
Yoder.
Yes.
Motion carried. And now on to the president's report.
Okay, Tim?
Well, today we have kind of some of our traditional items in our president's report. We also have a little video we're going to share that kind of kicked out today by our corporate communications group, and I'll talk a little bit about that when we get there. But I'll talk from our generation side of the business. Nebraska City 1 operated at a 70, just about an 80% capacity factor. Had a couple outages during the month, but our teams responded incredibly quickly and expediently and cost effectively to get those plants back up and operating during the warm weather that we had during the month of August. Nebraska City 2 had a 94% capacity factor and obviously did a great job of operating during the warm weather. Renewable energy contributions were 17% for the month relative to our retail sales for the month of August, and had a capacity factor of about 27.9%. Renewable energy contributed to 28% of OPPD's retail sales year to date, and had a capacity factor of 41.5%. So we're seeing, and we'll see that probably now and through the end of the year actually increase because of the increased capacity factor of the renewable resources. Regarding some of the things that have gone on in the community and some of our commitment to our customers that need our assistance, OPPD conducted again the 30th anniversary of our Swigert Golf anniversary, or excuse me, our invitational tournament on August 16th. We actually had a lot of volunteers, a lot of folks in the community participate in that event. We had 305 golfers, which was a record, raised $29,000. We're not done counting all the pennies yet, but it'll be over $29,000. All of that money will go to the Energy Assistance Program this year to support OPPD customers that are in need to pay bills during this warm summer. We will also fund, traditionally we have funded a scholarship, either STEM or business scholarship, either from Creighton University, Bellevue University, or the University of Nebraska at Omaha, and we'll continue to do that this year as well. Those funds have done well over the past, and we're still able to do those scholarships and essentially support our Energy Assistance Program as well. So we're pretty pleased with that. We want to thank all of our sponsors members who did a great job of helping us out this year. And it was a good year. The first flight had a little rain delay, but it was a beautiful afternoon for the afternoon group. So great record, and we'll continue to do that to support STEM and business scholarships in our community, as well as our energy assistance program. You're gonna hear kind of a community theme, because there's been a lot of activity over the course of the last month. So from our Society of Engineers, they have participated in the Omaha Engineering Day. That was coordinated by the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce on August 18th. We had many of our engineers engaged with over 600 students from the University of Nebraska system that are in the STEM and engineering related areas. We actually did tours of our facilities and other facilities in the community, but it's part of our commitment to want to talk about our business, talk about the changing times of our business, and also the opportunities for engineers in our business. And so it was a great opportunity for our team to kind of show what's going on at OPPD and some of the great things that we're doing. Also, we had members of our OPPD family participate in the corporate cycling challenge. So we had over 40 employees and their families participate. And this is really an opportunity for them to raise money for trail development in Greater Omaha and Eastern Nebraska. And this is just another commitment, a manner in which our employees kind of live out our core values of passion to serve, honoring our communities, and caring for each other. And it's an opportunity also, I think it's also participating with some of our health initiatives that we have going on here at OPPD as well. A month or so ago, I talked a little bit about the APPA Day of Caring, but this year, the United Way also had its Day of Caring too on August 25th, and we had over 50 employees participate in that Day of Caring. You see on the chart behind me a number of the different organizations that they participated with, and it's an opportunity for our employees to give back to the community. And one of the slides up there is Devin Meisinger with a rake, and he was helping out at the Hope Center with a large group of employees, just cleaning up the grounds and doing a number of different things. We had a group inside actually doing a bunch of moving of furniture and desks and chairs around to support them as well that day. So it's just our ongoing commitment to helping the community where we need to help. Also in the community as we've talked to the board, we have an employee resource group that's focused around our veterans network. And so it's an opportunity for our veterans to give back into the community. So the Nebraska chapter of Honor and Remember organized a walk this past September 10th, really to pay tribute to the 1.3 million service members and first responders who have died in the line of service since the America's founding. And so that walk and event was followed by a 9/11 ceremony. I know it was covered very well by many of the different TV and radio channels as well. And our OPPD Veterans Network is increasing their engagement. I will also share kind of in this, we have been actively involved in developing, along with the Omaha Chamber, the military awareness campaign that'll be starting next week across this region during the month of September, October, November, really paying tribute to the anniversaries of our military through the Air Force, through the Navy, and then the Army and the Marines, and then a broader campaign just to provide awareness to what's going on in the community and the value and the benefit of Offutt Air Force Base to this region as well. And then to kind of stay not necessarily in our community, but across the United States, we have sent 2 different teams. We have over 30 employees, and we have released a number of our contractors that have supported us to help in the restoration and reconstitution efforts due to the Hurricane Irma in Florida. And so those teams, some are on site today, some will be arriving tomorrow night in those sites in Jacksonville. And I just opportunity to talk with several executives from Orlando and Jacksonville over the last day or so. They're in great need of our help. And one of the executives said 48 states are represented, have representative utilities supporting this national disaster. And so just want to thank our men and women that are supporting this, but I also want to thank the men and women that allow our employees to lead. This is a volunteer effort. So, and someone talked, we don't voluntold our employees that they need to do this. This is a volunteer. And I'm going to play this video now. Kim's got the button, and she's going to play it. You're going to get the button.
Going to Jacksonville. Not exactly sure. They had 100 and some thousand people out. It could be a week, it could be 3 weeks. We're just not sure what it'll be. That's definitely an adventure. It's around 1,400 miles to get down there. 2.5 days of travel. Exciting to go help in these situations, and it's rewarding to go home, to go out and help put power back on and help people.
I've been down here several times with my family on vacation. I'm expecting a very long drive in these trucks, and I don't really have any idea what to expect when we go down there. It's going to be anything, it'll be far from a vacation, I'll say that much. So in a crisis like this, I think, they're going to send people to help. Back this summer when we were out of lights, I was out myself for 4 days, and there were some guys from Kansas City that actually came up and got power back onto my house. So I was very, very thankful for that. I would say getting all the lights back on. Nobody getting hurt and having a safe trip up and down.
Yeah, I'll just share a little bit about Bill Bergeron. Bill was in the path of the June 16th storm very clearly down at Chris and Hansen Lake, and his house and area received significant amount of damage down there. As he said, he was out for 4 days, so it's an opportunity for these guys to give back on what they do. So again, I think I said in my post today, we're going to pray for their safe return, safe travel down, safe return back, and that they remain safe while they're there. So. Since 1987, we've given an award. It's called the Award of Excellence, and it really is in honor of a former employee of OPPD. His name was Bill Turner, and it is presented to an employee who really emulates the same qualities. And this year, the recipient of that award was Tammy Monroe. Certainly the board certainly has had the opportunity to interface with Tammy. But a couple of the comments that came up, I thought I would share this, and Javier and I and other members of the senior team who were there and the management team had the opportunity to hear this. But one of the comments was, she always gives 100% above and beyond whatever it takes to provide the ultimate service to OPPD's internal and external customers. And she had over 30 people nominate her for this award. So that's a pretty significant opportunity. And the other comment that came was of that is Tammy is one of the most dedicated employees at OPPD. The nomination noted she will work whatever hours it takes to get the job done with a positive attitude and a smile. She's always willing to answer questions in order for the customers to get the excellent service. And so it was a great opportunity for us to give that award to Tammy. It's certainly well deserved, and as certainly the board knows and others, is she played a pretty significant role in the transition in the CFO role, and we certainly appreciate all the work that she has done. There were several other employees that were nominated. Scott Dankey from our Business Technology and Building Services Group, Susan Hobbs, also from Business Technology and Building Services, Stanley Kretzer from Energy Production and Marketing, and Brandon Michaels, who is in our Fort Calhoun decommissioning area as well. And all of those had just wonderful responses from employees that nominated them for this award. So we have some just top-notch folks working here at OPPD, and we know that every single day, and I get an opportunity to see it. I know the senior team does as well. Next, one of our employees, we call him V because his name is Vadegla Sepke. He was named the Toastmaster of the Year. OPPD is a very engaging Toastmaster group across the Omaha area and across the region. We've had several folks that have been kind of regional presidents. I know Russ Baker has been in that, maybe still is involved in that organization as well. And so V was identified as the Toastmaster of the Year by our OPPD chapter. And it's because he is dedicated and distinguished in their service and what they do. And V currently has just taken a new role with us. He's in our Energy Delivery Center of Excellence group, and he's really focused on process improvement in that area, and he's making some great contributions to that area. And, normally we talk about employees, but we thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about some retirees at OPPD and some of the things that they're doing to give back and how they're living out still the core values. And so, you can see some of them have grayer hair and some have less hair, but they are silver haired now. And while their pole climbing days may be behind them, OPPD retirees Butch Clark, Bob Jansen, Rick York still have the skill to teach a thing or two to today's line workers. And so these individuals have, since they retired, been part-time instructors, adjunct instructors at Metro Community College, and they do just a significant job. And they interface with our folks to tell us who are really the up-and-coming line technicians, and gives us an opportunity to participate in some of the work that they do there. And we interface with them incredibly well, but they continue to live the OPPD spirit and our core values of passion to serve, honoring our communities, and caring for each other. And we thought it'd be just a great opportunity to shout out with some retirees and some of the work that they're doing. We really appreciate that. And I think almost done here, but this is actually really good news. So the OPPD, through the September issue of Site Selection magazine, features its annual rankings of the top U.S. utilities and economic development, and it's certainly no surprise to us that OPPD has earned the top 10 spot. We've certainly been in that kind of next level and in the honorable mention level, but we are in the top 10 spot. And so the rankings are based on analysis of corporate end use project activity in 2016 in our service territory, the website tools, the data, the innovative programs and incentives that we work with businesses on, including energy efficiency, renewable energy programs, and the utility zone job creating infrastructure and facility investment trends. Couple comments that came from the managing editor of the magazine is that this year's top utilities excel at enhancing corporate location decision makers with business intelligence, teamwork, and service. The editor-in-chief, Mark Ahrens, added, utilities play a key role as participants in the economic development efforts of cities, regions, and all areas working to improve their local business climate. This year's top utilities were particularly successful in that endeavor. And so in the top 10 category, I thought I'd share with you who they are, which I think really lives out our vision of leading the way we power the future. Our companies in the top 10 are American Electric Power, ComEd, excuse me, Duke Energy, Entergy, Georgia Power, LG&E Kentucky Utilities, Missouri Power, PECO, and the Tennessee Valley Authority. So we're really 2 of the top 10 from the public power side that hit the top 10 category for Site Selection magazine. And certainly, certainly want to recognize our economic development team, but I will tell you, Lisa and John and Mo and other members of the team, our finance group, our rates group, our facilities group are actively involved in all of our clients. As a matter of fact, as we've reported back in the example of Facebook, we had over 75 people at OPPD engaged in that project. So this is really a company-wide award, and so we accept it graciously, and it's because of the great work that our men and women at OPPD have done around that. So it's a great news story, and I think it's great news for the region as well. And last but not least, and this is kind of in reference to our men and women that are traveling this week, but also the ones that are staying here to continue the great work that we do to make sure customers have safe, reliable power. We want to recognize Michael J. Toms, who is an electrician who died on July 10th, 1974. He was electrocuted on July 10th while working on a transformer near Elmwood, Nebraska. He was 29 years old, had been with OPPD for 5 years at the time of his death. He was also a veteran of the United States military, and he was survived by his parents, grandparents, and his sister. And that concludes my report. Thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Tim. Obviously, a lot of great things going on. Amazes me every month, all these things. A lot of great professionals here. With that, I did want to take 1 minute and publicly, I've said this at our committee meetings, but I wanted to publicly thank the OPPD employees. There's 2 transmission projects going on in mine and Director Yoder's area, and those can be a little testy at times, but and we're in the earlier stages, but the Sarpy transmission line, the La Vista transmission line, we've been following that and working closely with the OPPD employees, and I've never seen such professionalism dealing with the public for the public relations and just the interactions. I've been very proud to be a board member, quite honestly. So thank you to, I know Mo's and Lisa's groups and everyone that's involved, and really everybody at OPPD, because I know there's a lot of things going on. But I know Director Yoder went to some of those meetings, and so did Director Moody, and I'm sure you'd same comments. But I did want to put that out publicly, because those can be tough things. And so far, you know, there's still a lot of room to go, but so far it's just been handled great. So kudos to you. So anyway, now's the time also for anybody in the public, any public comments or comments that they'd like to make. Please come on up and let us hear from you.
John Pollock, 1412 North 35th Street, Omaha. I'd also like to thank the people who are heading to the southeast to clean up a very big disaster area left by Irma. The next hurricane in the series, Jose, is kind of caught in the doldrums right now, and it's going to be wandering around a while. It may eventually make landfall somewhere in the northeast, but at that point it's been over cooler water for a long enough time that it would probably be a pretty weak system, and I don't think that we'd be sending any more aid, hopefully. Otherwise, our weather pattern, it looks fairly benign. Obviously, we're warmer than normal now, and we're going to stay that way for the best part of the next couple of weeks. The only possible hazard that I can see is that there's going to be a pretty large storm system centered over southwest Canada and the interior west of the U.S. for about a week to 10 days at least. It'll keep getting reinforcements. That puts us in an area where if we get moisture back from the Gulf, which we have not so far, but if we were, that could interact with the front and make some severe weather this time of year. Wind is the biggest hazard for that stuff. On the other hand, in the absence of that, we get more out of our wind farms. So basically a good pattern. Enjoy the warm weather while it lasts.
David Corbin, 1002 North 49th Street. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on all the recent recognitions that you just did and all your community service. And also for changing the committee meetings to a separate day. And it's because of the meeting being on a separate day that I was able to reference my earlier comments about looking at the bylaws, defining what presiding officers do, and looking at the strategic directives. And so I do think I have a pretty good feel of it, but I'm happy to hear other points. My concern that I mentioned earlier is what the public's role is in having input into new strategic directives. For example, with ethics, most of the ethics strategic directives right now are about your behavior, and it doesn't refer to anything, for example, environmental ethics, which should be somewhere, and social justice, such as when can you turn off somebody's power. I would hope that there would be discussion about that and that that would be part of the ethics. I'm looking forward to the results of the RFPs on the solar energy, and I'm hoping that I understand that there might be quite a few people companies that entered bids in there, and we're looking forward to seeing that. And then finally, again, hoping there's an announcement of how the public will be more engaged in the Green Fund. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Scott Williams, 312 South 16th Street in Director McGuire's district. I wanted to start by wishing you a happy National Drive Electric Week. I've actually been involved in a couple of events already this week and will continue to keep driving electric through the rest of the week and the rest of the month and the rest of the year as well. I also wanted to extend my thanks to the directors and management and the rest of the district for continuing to maintain stable and reliable electric supply so that we can continue to refuel our electric vehicles and keep driving electric here in Omaha. And I have a question about that exact issue. I've been approached a number of times by individuals and businesses, small and large, to offer advice about how to provide electric vehicle infrastructure in houses and also in businesses and places of commerce. There are a number of businesses who find value in providing this as a service to their clients, and they think that they'll be able to attract additional customers to the business. I think that there's a real case for that. If you think about supermarkets or movie theaters, places where people go for several hours, this is a fantastic opportunity to refill an electric vehicle when the car would have been parked anyway. And so businesses are interested in figuring out how to do that, and they've asked me for some of the expertise that I've accumulated, and I have looked for what the district has in terms of supporting the deployment of electric vehicle infrastructure. And what I found is a limited amount of information thus far. And so my question is regarding whether the district is doing anything to support or incentivize the deployment of electric vehicle infrastructure. I think that any financial analysis will easily show that the cost of electric vehicle charging infrastructure is dramatically outweighed by the retail sales that will be going through that meter. The return on investment is measured in months for EV charging stations. And it would be really easy for the district, to be blunt, the district could pay for the entire upfront cost of electric vehicle charging infrastructure and installation and still make good returns measured in terms of just months by the amount of time that people use those charging stations. And so I'm curious to express my support for the continued supply of clean fuel for our vehicles, and I'd like to ask that the district evaluate what it might be worth to the district in terms of supporting and incentivizing electric vehicle charging infrastructure. If by chance there are programs that currently exist that I've missed, I would be happy to have the board or staff enumerate those to me. But otherwise, I appreciate your continued leadership and trust that you will address this issue, and I'll be hearing more about it in the future. Thank you.
Yep, and those are good questions, and we are addressing them. And we have your information, probably Lisa and Julie and Tim. Well, obviously, that's a big, long discussion. But yeah, we'll get you some information of what we're doing currently, and then any other comments you have, of course, keep it going. But I know there's an interest by several board members and the whole board on what's going on. We watch that very closely, and we deal with it in some of our committee meetings and.
Is there anything I've missed in as much as incentives or support for electric vehicle infrastructure at this time?
No, not at this point in time, but the senior team just had a meeting this morning on our charter around our EV strategy work that's going to be going on, and our intent is for the board to hear that update probably. I think that initiative won't be done until the first part of 18, but it'll be part of an update that we'll give to the board, I think in December, on our integrated energy marketplace work.
Yeah, and the first part of 18 isn't too far away, actually, the way time goes. But anyway, we'll definitely keep you in the loop of what's going on.
Is there someone specific that the board or management would like to direct me to engage with the district regarding electric vehicles? As I look for additional information, is there a point person in the district specifically on this issue?
Yeah, what I would do is I'm going to have you work with Julie on it from the customer pieces that you talked about on those end-use customers of ours on that strategy. I think it'd be a great opportunity to do that first interface on that, because it's one of those. My guess is in the group that we're putting together, it's going to be one of those extended services that we're going to begin to offer for those kinds of customers. Now, whether there's incentives to it or not is a different discussion. That's what they're going to vet out and bring back to us.
Great. Thanks for feedback. Julie, if you mind, I'd speak with you after the meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't see anyone else. All right, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you all.
Great, thanks. Good job. All right, fellas. Hey, there's a lot of stuff in there. Yeah.
Better it is.
I think so.